All right, so you want the inside scoop on Octolens, this AI-powered social listening tool, right? Everyone's talking about it. And you came to the right place. We went through your stack of articles, reviews, even YouTubers digging into this thing. And we're really diving deep today to see if Octolens is worth the hype.
Yeah, and it really is more than just hype. I mean, some seriously fascinating stuff is happening in the social listening world. Imagine you're like a fly on the wall for a second. You hear everything people are saying about your company, about your product, even your competitors. That's social listening at its core, and Octolens wants to be your like high-tech listening device.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but before we go full Sherlock Holmes here,
Yeah.
let's set the stage a bit. Why should we even care about this social listening thing? We're busy people, right? Our inboxes are overflowing with so-called urgent stuff. Is this really the best use of our time?
Absolutely. Picture this for a second. Your competitor, they launch some shiny new feature and you're totally in the dark about it. Then, boom, your sales start tanking and you've got no clue why. Turns out there's a whole firestorm brewing on like Reddit or somewhere. Users are slamming this new feature, calling it clunky, unreliable, the whole 9 yards. Now imagine if you had known about this uproar like as it was happening.
You could have swooped right in with your own content, a blog post or whatever,
Yeah.
highlighting how your product solves those exact problems.
Yeah.
Turn that competitor's disaster into your win.
Exactly. And that's just one example, right? Social listening can help you uncover hidden opportunities like that. You can address those customer concerns before they blow up in your face like a PR nightmare. You can even identify like emerging trends in your industry. It's like
Right.
having a crystal ball, but instead of vague predictions, you get real-time insights from actual conversations happening right now.
Okay, that's way more exciting than I thought, honestly. So where does this Octolens thing fit into all of this?
So think of Octolens as your like personalized social listening assistant. It sifts through all the noise out there and delivers the most relevant insights to you. And it's all powered by AI.
AI, huh? That sounds both impressive and kind of intimidating at the same time. Break it down for me, like how does this thing actually work?
It's actually surprisingly straightforward. Let's say you're trying to track mentions of your latest product launch. First, you tell Octolens where to look. Twitter, LinkedIn, maybe even like niche tech forums where your target audience hangs out.
Because a tweet from some tech enthusiast carries a lot more weight than like a random comment buried in some Facebook thread, right?
Exactly. Next, you feed it the good stuff, the keywords that matter most. This could be your company name, specific product features, even just like industry buzzwords that your ideal customer might be using.
Okay, so instead of casting this wide net and hoping to catch something, you're giving Octolens laser-focused instructions, right? Be on the lookout for X, Y, and Z, and don't waste my time with anything else.
You got it. And this is where the AI really shines. It doesn't just flag every single instance of those keywords. It analyzes the sentiment, the context, even the relevance to your specific goals.
Hold on, back up for a second. Sentiment, context, relevance. Those are some loaded words.
Yeah,
What do those actually mean in the world of social listening?
great question. So sentiment analysis basically means figuring out if people are gushing about your brand, venting their frustrations, or somewhere in between. Context is all about understanding the why behind a message. Are they praising your awesome customer service? Are they ranting about a bug in your latest software? And then relevance is about filtering out all that noise and prioritizing the mentions that are most likely to impact your bottom line.
So it's like having this team of super sleuths, right? They're analyzing every tweet and post and comment out there, separating the gold from the digital dirt. That's some next level intel gathering. But how does it actually help me make smarter decisions? Like, give me some real world examples here.
Okay, so let's say you're a sauce company and you pride yourself on having amazing customer support. But you've recently rolled out this new onboarding process for new users. Octolens could monitor all the mentions of onboarding, new user, even your competitor names alongside yours. And if there's a spike in negative sentiment around your onboarding boom, you catch it early.
Instead of just finding out when those frustrated customer emails start pouring in, you're getting that feedback right from the source in real time.
Exactly. Or imagine you're a B2B company with this like really specialized product. You could use Octolens to track all that industry jargon or specific pain points your ideal customer might be talking about online. And suddenly you're not just selling a product anymore. You're joining these conversations where people are actively looking for a solution like yours.
Okay, I'm starting to see the potential here. But let's talk about the elephant in the room for a second. Everyone and their mother claims their tool is the next big thing, right? What makes Octolens different from all the other social listening tools out there?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, and it's one we dug into. You're right, there is no shortage of social listening tools out there, and they all have their strengths and weaknesses. You've got your all-in-one platforms like Hootsuite or Sprout Social. They're fantastic for managing all your social media accounts in one place and scheduling posts and all that. But their social listening features can be a little basic. And then you've got your super specialized tools that focus solely on social listening. But those often come with a hefty price tag.
So where does Octolens fit into all of this?
Well, Octolens is aiming to strike a balance. It's laser focused on giving you powerful social listening insights without all the bloat of a full-blown social media management tool. And crucially, it does all of this at a fraction of the cost of some of its competitors.
Okay, so it's streamlined, it's affordable, it's AI powered.
Yeah.
But does it actually deliver on its promises? We dug into some user reviews for this, right? What are people actually saying about their experience with Octolens?
One of the most common things we saw was praise for how user-friendly it is. Even if you're not a tech whiz, you can easily figure out the platform, you can set up your monitoring parameters and start getting those insights right away. People were raving about the clean interface and how intuitive the dashboard is.
Because who has time to wrestle with clunky software when you're trying to stay ahead of the curve, right?
And speaking of time, one user even mentioned that they got back like 5 to 10 hours per week. Time they used to spend just manually monitoring social media. That's huge. Absolutely. And that time-saving aspect goes way beyond just convenience. Imagine taking those hours and putting them towards building relationships with potential customers, or crafting those super targeted marketing campaigns, or even just giving yourself a moment to breathe.
Right. Okay, so we've got user-friendly, we've got time-saving, we know it doesn't break the bank. But what about those AI-powered insights we talked about earlier? Are they really all they're cracked up to be?
So one user described the daily email summaries as a gold mine for spotting opportunities they would have totally missed otherwise. Imagine starting your day with this curated list of the most relevant conversations happening around your brand or industry, all prioritized for you based on sentiment and relevance. That's what Octolens brings to the table.
Talk about starting your day with a competitive edge. But it's not just about finding those golden nuggets. It's about understanding the why behind all the chatter. One of the things that really impressed me about Octolens was its ability to actually analyze the context of those social media mentions.
Absolutely. It's one thing to know that people are talking about your brand online, but it's a whole other thing to understand why they're talking about it. Are they praising that new feature you just launched? Are they complaining about a bug in your latest update? Octolens helps you connect those dots and see the bigger picture.
And that's where the real magic happens, right? When you can actually turn those insights into action. But before we dive into that, I'm curious, are there any downsides? Every tool has its limitations, right? What are we missing here?
You're right, no tool is perfect. One thing that came up in our research was that the number of keywords and mentions you can track depends on your pricing tier. So if you're a huge company with multiple brands and just this massive social media presence, you might bump up against those limits.
So there are some limitations, right? Depends on how much you're willing to shell out. Makes sense you get what you pay for. But I bet for those smaller businesses, or even someone with a really specific focus, those entry-level tiers might be more than enough, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's worth pointing out that Octolens is constantly evolving. They're adding new platforms, new features, all based on what users are saying. In fact, one thing we saw come up a few times was the number of social media platforms it integrates with. Like people wanted more. And you know what? They actually added a bunch of new integrations since those reviews were posted. Shows you they're really committed to keeping up with this ever-changing social media world.
That's good to hear. Like they're saying, hey, we hear you, we're on it.
Exactly. And that responsiveness to what users need, that's something we saw a lot in the reviews. People really like that Octolens is always trying to improve.
So it's not like they just threw a tool out there and said, good luck. They're actually listening,
Yeah.
which is a good sign.
Yeah, precisely. And speaking of listening, let's circle back to the heart of what we've been talking about. How do you use these Octolens insights to actually move the needle, get those results? One thing that really stuck with me was this comment from a user. They said, Octolens lets you engage with the most interested people who are in the zone of buying your product.
Wow, that is powerful. It's like you're not just shouting into the void anymore, hoping someone hears you. You're joining those conversations where people are already primed and ready to hear what you have to say.
Right. Instead of interrupting someone's day with an ad they don't want, you're giving them valuable info or offering a solution at the exact moment they need it.
Talk about right place, right time. It's not about being pushy. It's about being helpful, being relevant.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's social listening done right. It's not just some passive monitoring tool, it's a launch pad for building relationships, establishing yourself as a thought leader, and yeah, ultimately driving business growth.
So as we wrap up our deep dive here into the world of Octolens, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with?
That's a good one. I'd say think about the conversations happening around your brand, your industry right now. Are you a part of those? Are you even aware of them? Because your next big opportunity, it might be hiding in plain sight. A tweet, a LinkedIn comment, a Reddit thread, just waiting for you to listen.
Well, consider us officially ready to put on our detective hats. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Octolens and the power of social listening. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring those digital conversations.